You're up to the challenge. You have stolen what is mine by right. And now, you will join me.
You lied to me, priest!
I warned you the journey would be difficult.
You said nothing about sailing through the very gates of hell!
Hell is all but inevitable. The island calls to those who forge their own destiny. Do not fear the storm, Captain. Faith will see us through.
You will be mine soon enough.
After over 4,000 hours of playing New World, I've compiled a list of over 30 tips and tricks that I've learned from playing the game or from friends that honestly completely changes your gameplay and makes it a better gaming experience. Again, these tips are for everyone, regardless if you are brand new to the game, you're going to be playing on console, or if you've honestly have a few thousand of hours yourself, there is something in this video for you. Again, these tips and tricks are not in any specific order, but sit back, enjoy, watch them, and let me know if I missed anything in the comments. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in. My first tip is for those of you that are brand new to New World. When you first start the game, you're getting the option to select an archetype, which is essentially the first two weapons that you start the game with. But don't stress, you are not locked into these. Honestly, I wouldn't even worry about the weapon selection because these will change very quickly. Instead, focus on the trade skills. For example, if you want to make money early on, maybe focus on engineering so you can create tools quickly because everyone's going to want to upgrade their tools. Next up, we're talking about the power of the PvP flag. So right now I'm cutting down a tree. I am unflagged in the game, and you can see that I gained a total of 32 XP in the lower left corner. I'm going to go ahead and go back into the city just so I can actually flag myself, just to really show you the overall impact that PvP flagging has with your leveling experience. I highly recommend that if you are just farming some resources or doing some quests, to go ahead and flag up. You probably should be flagged up at all times unless someone just keeps killing you consistently. I gained 76 XP right there. That's over double for being flagged. Again, just do it. It will speed things up quite a bit. This next tip is more so a chart that'll just help you throughout your gameplay. Honestly, it might be helpful to pause the video here and just take a quick screenshot. Throughout Aeternum, you are going to be coming across a range of different enemy types, such as Angry Earth, Lost, Corrupted, and yeah, you get the point. Essentially, every type of mob has a certain type of weakness. For example, that top row, let's say that you are attacking some sort of Angry Earth mob, like one of those large Angry Earth deers that you see in the trailers. It's calling out that slash damage actually is the most effective weapon type. So that means that if you utilize something like a greatsword, a sword, a hatchet, or even a great axe, that your light attacks and heavy attacks and your abilities will actually utilize a little bit more damage than the typical weapon, just because it's more effective on that mob type. On the right side of the chart, you're going to see a handful of different types of gems, because these different mob types are also weak towards certain elements. If we stick with the Angry Earth example, you can see that the Ruby, which utilizes fire damage, has more effectiveness on Angry Earth. For example, if I'm using a hatchet with a ruby within the hatchet, I'm going to be dishing off as much damage as possible towards that mob type. So again, this is just good to know. I'm not saying that just because slash damage is the most effective against Angry Earth, that you should only use weapons within that category, just because every weapon has unique skills and abilities, and it might be useful based on your overall team's distribution of weapons and whatnot. So again, if you guys wanted to, go ahead and take a quick screenshot of this because this is just something that's good to know as you progress throughout Aeternum. My next tip is just to let you know to don't stress out about your equipment until you're max level. Just keep continuing the main story quest, level up your character. Your gear is just going to be outdated as soon as you level up, so just don't stress too much about it. Just level up, and then once you hit max level, that's when you can start investing a little bit more and focusing more on your actual gear just to get you to that next level of gameplay. Next up, within every city, you're going to see a different icon based on your faction type where you'll be able to utilize a faction store. There's a handful of items in here that are actually worth utilizing your tokens for, especially early and late game. For example, if you scroll down to the last title of the faction shop, you're going to see a handful of different types of gear. I mean, you can get 675 gear score items with great perks right off the bat. Honestly, when I start a new character, one of the first things I actually try to focus on is grinding out that equipment, as well as picking up some important crafting items. Another location that's in most towns that is worth calling out is the gypsum kiln. You'll see that it looks like that icon there. And this is honestly a place that you want to check out as you're leveling up your character. And as soon as you hit level 65, you can craft a ton of gypsum orbs. And most importantly, you can actually upgrade gear and create high gear score gear. For example, this is a 700 gear score item with enchanted ward and fire harnessing. There's tons and tons of great perks on these pieces of equipment. Instead of dropping tons and tons of gold getting one specific piece, check this out because chances are there's a piece here that you can craft extremely cheap for and save you tons of gold. This next tip is focused on the attribute system and the importance of hitting certain thresholds. First of all, don't stress if you put something in the wrong spot. You can very easily respec for a very low cost, so don't worry because you're going to be doing that extremely a lot as you change up your build. The most important thing I want to call out here is the importance of hitting certain thresholds for each attribute, just because you get certain bonuses after accomplishing certain thresholds. For example, you can see these different bonuses I get for the Constitution attribute because I broke 150 Constitution. You're going to want to play around with your build to hit and maximize the bonuses for each attribute to benefit what you're trying to accomplish with your build. As you progress your character, you're going to gain a territory standing bonus in certain territories, allowing you to choose one of 3 different bonuses. I just want to call out that storage is king. Whenever you are offered the ability to upgrade your storage, take it. Otherwise, take the benefit that you think will help the most in that area. When it comes to selecting the 2 weapons that you plan on utilizing for your build, it's very important to look at the attribute that that weapon scales off of. For example, the fire staff scales off of intelligence, while the spear scales off of dexterity and strength, which basically means those 2 might not work perfectly together. However, the fire staff and the ice gauntlet both utilize intelligence, so when you dump points into intelligence, it's helping both of your weapons. I'm not saying this is a make or break situation, but I am saying that it's probably worth focusing on weapons that complement each other just to get the most out of the attributes that you invest in. But again, it's up to you, so start exploring and have some fun with your build. Another quick tip for you beginners out there, as you explore Aeternum, you're going to see these blue glowing notes. Just go ahead and read them. You get a quick XP bonus, so it's totally worth just clicking a quick button and picking up easy XP. Next up is kind of a funny, interesting tip, just because you can actually store a ton of water in one of your slots, and it's actually extremely useful for the leveling experience. Go ahead and find a river and just start collecting water, put it within one of your consumable slots, and utilize that to heal you as you progress and level up. It's 100% free and honestly pretty effective all the way up to around level 30 or so. Next up is a fun tip about transmog. This game has a great transmog system, but you do require 1 transmog token in order to capitalize and use one of these skins. So one thing that I found out that's pretty interesting is that you can actually gain 1 free transmog token per week from elite chests. So go ahead and do your chest runs daily just to pick up on these tokens. Plus it's 1 per character per week. So you can go ahead and create multiple characters to pick up multiple tokens if you really wanted to. This next quick tip is for those of you that have tons and tons of gold and you don't know what to do with it. The current player cap to holding gold is 1 million. However, if you really have to, you can create your own company just to bump up that max capacity. A company's storage in regards to gold capacity is 5 million. So if you really have a ton of gold, go ahead and create your own company just for an extra bank to hold all of that money. This next tip is for all of you players, and it's regarding the utilization of maxing out your stamina. every time you dodge, you use up stamina. And if you are not utilizing the Hardy perk, then most builds are actually only limited to 2 dodges. If you have this Hardy perk, you can dodge up to 3 times and really boost up your overall survivability. At level 25, you unlock the activity card for the seasonal rewards. Again, this activity card is essentially a bingo card where if you do a certain activity, you can stamp a location and try to get a bingo to max out and get more seasonal XP. One thing to call out though is that you do get wild stamps, which is essentially like a free space that you can choose anywhere on the board. And just watch the sequence I'm using here on this bingo board. Every time you get a bingo, you get 1 free wild stamp. So you really don't have to do every single activity. Just by being smart about where you're placing these stamps will save you a ton of time and max out your overall season XP every single activity card you complete. My next tip is about being as efficient as possible with your gear sets. As you play Aeternum, you can unlock more gear sets where you can actually utilize the consumable slots to hold more items. As you can tell, my storage is getting pretty high up, but I can use one of my gear sets just to hold a stack of 100 potions to help my overall inventory space. You can have up to 3 different houses within New World Aeternum, and I highly recommend that you just save your gold and buy the $20,000 house 3 times. Don't even bother with the cheaper houses because you're not going to use them long term. Larger house means larger storage, so focus on getting those as soon as possible. Did you know that you can get some really cool mount skins without having to pay even a dime? At the end game of New World, you're going to be able to complete level 3 expeditions, allowing you to get some pretty cool drops, including these mount skins. For example, I got this really cool lion skin just by completing the M3 Depths expedition and getting it from a mob drop. By utilizing buy orders, you can really max out the storage shed capacity within your different storages. As you can tell, I have over 13,000 weight in this storage. Just because I really wanted to stock up in one certain resource, I went ahead and just set up tons and tons of buy orders for extremely cheap and basically use it as a dumping ground where I have tons of these resources where I'll eventually flip down the road. One of the most important tips I have to share with you in this video is to not ignore the music trade skill. By playing